Dear brothers and sisters, today I want to share with you a powerful reminder about how to respond when someone disrespects you. In our lives, we often face situations where our dignity is challenged, where words or actions aim to undermine our character. But remember, how we respond reflects our true strength and faith. First and foremost, when someone disrespects you, the best advice is to remember the words of our beloved Prophet, peace be upon him. The strong is not the one who overcomes the people by his strength, but the strong is the one who controls himself while in anger. So the key is control. Control over your emotions, over your tongue, over your reactions. In such moments, say quietly and sincerely, I am patient and I seek refuge in Allah from being among the heedless. This acknowledgement is powerful. It reminds you to maintain your composure, to turn to Allah in humility and patience rather than retaliate with anger or harshness. Also, refrain from harsh words or retaliating with disrespect. Instead, respond with kindness or simply walk away, for Allah loves those who forgive and overlook faults. As Allah mentions in the Quran, and not equal are the good deed and the bad. Repel evil by that which is better. Quran 4:134. Remember, true dignity lies in your response. When someone disrespects you, say this once with sincerity and conviction. I am above your disrespect because I know my worth in the eyes of Allah. This statement encapsulates confidence rooted in faith, reminding yourself that your value is ultimately determined by Allah, not by the words or actions of others. Brothers and sisters, always maintain your humility and patience. Responding with grace and strength not only elevates your character, but also earns Allah's pleasure and the admiration of those around you. In conclusion, the next time someone disrespects you, say once and only once, I am patient, I seek Allah's help, and I know my worth in His eyes. Let this be your shield and your response, a reflection of true faith and inner strength. Maintain self-control and patience. Respond to disrespect with calmness and seek refuge in Allah from anger, embodying inner strength through patience. In life, we are bound to encounter moments where our patience is tested, especially when someone disrespects us. These situations can be challenging because they trigger our instinct to react defensively or retaliate. However, true strength lies not in responding with anger or harsh words, but in maintaining self-control and patience. This quality is highly valued in our faith and is a sign of true inner strength. When someone disrespects you, the first and most important step is to take a moment to pause. Instead of reacting impulsively, breathe deeply and remind yourself that your response is a reflection of your character and faith. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, taught us that controlling one's anger is a sign of strength. He said, the strong is not the one who overcomes people by his strength, but the one who controls himself while in anger. This means that real strength is demonstrated not in physical dominance or harsh words, but in the ability to stay calm and composed, even in challenging situations. Practicing self-control requires a conscious effort. It involves training oneself to remember Allah and to invoke patience. When someone disrespects you, instead of immediately retaliating, turn your focus inward and seek refuge in Allah. Say quietly in your heart, I seek refuge in Allah from the whisperings of shaitan and from losing my composure. This invocation helps to calm the mind and prevent impulsive reactions driven by pride, ego, or anger. Another vital aspect of maintaining self-control is to reflect on the temporary nature of this world and the eternal nature of the hereafter. When someone disrespects you, it can be tempting to seek revenge or to prove your worth through confrontation. But remember, Allah is the best judge, and ultimately He is aware of your patience and humility. By controlling your reactions, you are earning Allah's pleasure and earning rewards that are greater than any temporary satisfaction derived from retaliating. Furthermore, it is essential to remember that responding with patience and calmness can disarm the aggressor and often change the dynamics of the situation. When you choose to stay composed, you demonstrate a high level of moral integrity. The person disrespecting you might expect a similar response in kind, but by remaining patient, you set a powerful example. You show that your dignity is rooted in faith, not in fleeting emotions or worldly status. Maintaining self-control also involves managing your internal feelings. It is natural to feel hurt or angry initially, but you must work on channeling those feelings into positive actions. Instead of letting anger consume you, focus on making dua for the person who disrespects you. Pray for their guidance and for Allah's help in staying patient. This dua not only softens your heart, but also elevates your character in the eyes of Allah. Practicing patience is a journey that requires continuous effort. It involves reminding oneself of the virtues of forgiveness, humility, and reliance on Allah. When you exercise patience, you are demonstrating that your trust is in Allah's justice rather than seeking revenge through worldly means. This mindset gives you peace and strengthens your faith, knowing that Allah is aware of your efforts and will reward you accordingly. In addition, developing self-control is about understanding the consequences of losing your temper. Responding impulsively can escalate conflicts, damage relationships, and stain your reputation. Conversely, showing patience and restraint can lead to reconciliation, mutual respect, and a sense of inner peace. It is a testament to your faith that you can remain calm when others are disrespectful, trusting that Allah's justice will prevail and that your reward lies with Him. In conclusion, maintaining self-control and patience when faced with disrespect is a profound act of faith. It requires conscious effort, reliance on Allah, and a deep understanding of the temporary nature of worldly matters. It is a sign of true inner strength, reflecting your trust in Allah's wisdom and justice. By embodying patience, you not only preserve your dignity but also demonstrate the beautiful character traits that Islam encourages. Remember, every moment of patience and self-control is a step closer to Allah's pleasure and eternal reward. Respond with kindness or silence. Refrain from retaliating with harsh words. Instead, choose kindness or walk away, demonstrating humility and forgiveness. When someone disrespects you, the natural instinct might be to respond with anger, harsh words, or retaliation. However, the most noble and wise response often involves choosing kindness or remaining silent. This approach is rooted in humility, patience, and the recognition that responding with dignity reflects true strength and character. It also aligns with the teachings of Islam, which encourages believers to respond to hostility with goodness and to avoid unnecessary conflict whenever possible. Responding with kindness does not mean weakness or submission. Instead, it is a deliberate act of self-control and a demonstration of moral integrity. When someone insults or disrespects you, your response can either escalate the situation or de-escalate it. By choosing kindness, you send a powerful message that your dignity is rooted in your faith and your moral values, not in the words or actions of others. Kindness can take many forms, offering a gentle word instead of an angry retort, forgiving the person who wrongs you, or simply turning away from confrontation. Each of these actions reflects a commitment to higher principles and a recognition that true strength lies in controlling one's reactions. Remaining silent is equally important. Sometimes the most effective response to disrespect is to say nothing at all. Silence can serve as a shield, protecting your dignity and preventing the situation from spiraling into conflict. It also demonstrates patience and self-restraint. When you choose silence, you are showing that you do not need to stoop to the level of the one who disrespects you. Instead, you trust that Allah is aware of your good character and that He will reward your patience and forbearance. The Quran emphasizes this when it says, "And turn away from the ignorant," Quran 7:99, encouraging believers to ignore foolishness and to maintain composure. Choosing silence also provides an opportunity to reflect and respond thoughtfully, rather than impulsively. It allows you to control your emotions and avoid saying something regretful. Sometimes the best response is no response at all, especially when the intent behind the disrespect is to provoke you or stir up conflict. By remaining silent, you deny the aggressor the satisfaction of a reaction and demonstrate that their words do not have power over your peace of mind. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, exemplified this behavior perfectly. He was known for his patience and forgiveness, even in the face of extreme hostility. When insulted or mocked, he responded with kindness or chose to remain silent. His silence was not out of weakness, but out of wisdom and strength. This approach often disarmed his enemies and led them to reconsider their actions. His example teaches us that responding with patience and kindness can turn enemies into friends and can elevate your character above petty disputes. Responding with kindness also has a profound impact on the person who disrespects you. It can serve as a reminder of moral values and humility, encouraging them to reflect on their own behavior. Often, people disrespect others because they are angry, insecure, or misguided. When confronted with kindness instead of hostility, they may realize the error of their ways and feel remorseful. In some cases, your gentle response can be a means of guiding others toward better behavior and creating an environment of mutual respect. Furthermore, responding with kindness or silence aligns with the Islamic principle of forgiving others. The Quran encourages believers to pardon and overlook the faults of others, and let them pardon and overlook. Do you not wish that Allah should forgive you? Quran 2:4-22. This teaching reminds us that forgiving and showing kindness is a virtue that brings us closer to Allah and elevates our character. It also helps us maintain inner peace and prevents resentment from taking root in our hearts. It is important to remember that responding with kindness does not mean tolerating ongoing abuse or injustice. There is a distinction between responding with patience and kindness in situations that can be handled with dignity, and enabling harmful behavior that needs to be addressed appropriately. The goal is to uphold your moral integrity while also standing firm against injustice when necessary. In many cases, showing kindness and remaining silent can diffuse potential conflicts and prevent escalation. In conclusion, responding to disrespect with kindness or silence is a powerful act of faith and character. It demonstrates humility, patience, and trust in Allah's justice. It also reflects the noble qualities that Islam encourages, such as forgiveness, forbearance, and moral strength. By choosing kindness and silence, you protect your dignity, influence others positively, and embody the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. This approach not only benefits your spiritual growth, but also contributes to creating a more respectful and harmonious environment around you. It is a testament to the fact that true strength lies in controlling one's reactions and responding with goodness, regardless of how others behave. Recognize your true worth in Allah's eyes. Secure your confidence in your value as perceived by Allah, saying once with conviction, I know my worth in the eyes of Allah, to uphold dignity. Trusting Allah's justice is one of the most profound demonstrations of faith and reliance on divine wisdom. When someone disrespects you, it can evoke feelings of anger, frustration, or the desire to seek immediate retribution. However, true believers understand that ultimate justice belongs to Allah alone. Placing your trust in Allah means believing that He is fully aware of all that occurs, and that He is the most just, most merciful, and most wise. It involves surrendering your desire for worldly revenge and instead turning to Allah with confidence that He will handle every matter in accordance with His perfect wisdom and justice. This trust is rooted in the belief that Allah is aware of everything, the thoughts, intentions, and actions of every individual. No injustice, no disrespect, and no wrongdoing escapes His notice. When you are wronged, it is natural to feel upset or aggrieved, but the believer recognizes that Allah is the best judge, and that His judgment is always fair and righteous. The Quran affirms this when it states, indeed, Allah commands you to render trust to whom they are due, and when you judge between people to judge with justice. Excellent is that which Allah instructs you. Indeed, Allah is ever hearing and seeing. Quran 4:58. This verse reminds us that Allah's instructions include trusting His judgment and leaving our affairs in His capable hands. Trusting Allah also involves patience and forbearance. When faced with disrespect, instead of rushing to take matters into your own hands, you accept that Allah's timing and His decisions are better than any human response. This patience is not passive resignation, but an active reliance on divine wisdom. It requires that you refrain from impulsively reacting and instead focus on maintaining your inner peace, knowing that Allah's justice will prevail, either in this world or the hereafter. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, exemplified this trust beautifully. Despite facing severe persecution, insults, and hostility, he remained patient, knowing that Allah would ultimately establish truth and justice. An essential aspect of trusting Allah is to understand that everything happens by His decree. Sometimes injustices and disrespect occur because of the actions of others, and these are tests from Allah to strengthen your faith and patience. When you trust in Allah's justice, you accept that whatever hardship you endure is part of His divine plan, and that there is wisdom behind every event. This belief alleviates feelings of helplessness and despair, replacing them with confidence that Allah's justice is perfect, and that your role is to remain steadfast and patient. Moreover, trusting Allah involves making dua for justice and mercy. It's natural to feel wronged, and turning to Allah in sincere supplication can provide comfort and reassurance. Asking Allah for guidance, patience, and resolution demonstrates reliance on His power rather than on your own limited strength. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, advised believers to turn to Allah with sincere supplication, especially when facing difficulties. This act of turning to Allah not only strengthens your faith, but also helps you cultivate inner tranquility and resilience. Leaving the matter to Allah also means avoiding unnecessary revenge or seeking to settle scores through worldly means. Revenge can often lead to further conflict and damage relationships, creating a cycle of hatred and resentment. Instead, by trusting that Allah will handle the situation, you free yourself from the burden of vengeance and the temptation of revenge. This act of surrender is a profound form of worship, showing that you acknowledge Allah's supremacy and His ability to administer justice better than any human can. It also aligns with the Islamic principle of Tawakkul, which means complete reliance and trust in Allah's plan. Additionally, trusting Allah's justice encourages humility. It reminds believers that they are not perfect and that everyone makes mistakes. When you trust that Allah will judge fairly, you are less likely to harbor feelings of superiority or envy. You recognize that you too are accountable to Allah, and that everyone will be recompensed according to their deeds. This perspective fosters humility, empathy, and forgiveness, which are essential qualities in maintaining inner peace and good character. Finally, trusting Allah's justice brings peace and contentment to the heart. It frees you from the anxiety of seeking revenge or harboring grudges, which can weigh heavily on your soul. Instead, you can focus on improving yourself, seeking Allah's forgiveness, and doing good deeds. This trust transforms your outlook from one of victimhood to one of surrender and hope in Allah's mercy. It reassures you that no matter how dark the situation appears, Allah's light of justice and mercy will shine through eventually. In conclusion, trusting Allah's justice and leaving the matter to Him is a vital aspect of faith that offers comfort, patience, and moral strength. It reminds us that Allah is the most just and that His judgment is always fair. This trust encourages patience, humility, and sincere supplication, guiding believers to relinquish their desire for worldly revenge and instead rely on divine wisdom. It is a demonstration of surrender to Allah's will and a recognition that ultimate justice belongs to Him alone. By embodying this trust, believers attain inner peace, elevate their character, and earn Allah's pleasure, knowing that He will recompense every deed in accordance with His perfect justice. May Allah guide us all to respond with wisdom, patience, and dignity in every situation. Ameen.